checking out this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe. A lot to get into today, including what is a big story today. Could end up being a way bigger story. It will end up being a big story, but we don't know the positives and the negatives for a while. But WBD is splitting apart.
Yes.
What's going on?
Well, they're going to do two different companies, and this has been talked about for a while. Essentially, the merger of WBD and Discovery, which happened a couple years ago, it was not a success, because if it was a success, this wouldn't happen. So what they're doing is they're going to do two companies, which would be one company that David Zaslav will head, which would be basically the streaming business. HBO would be part of it. And the other company would be the cable station business, which would be the TBS, CNN, TNT, True, Discovery. Discovery Plus, which is a streaming service, will be going with that company, the second company. So there will be a streaming component, but they kind of had almost merged Discovery Plus into Max anyway. So that's but it will still exist. So for AEW, there's going to be no difference for AEW probably for the bulk of this contract, which goes till 2027. So I don't expect anything as far as like a major change as far as AEW until 2027, but in probably late 2026, when they start having to negotiate the new deal, that's when it gets tricky, because you're negotiating with two different companies now, and maybe more.
That, by the way, is only 18 months away.
I know. Like I said, nothing's going to be, it's not going to matter for a year. 18 months, it's going to be an interesting story. And again, you don't know what's good or bad. I mean, the thing that's bad for all wrestling is something that, we've seen it coming, but it's the death of, look, wrestling survived and thrived for the last, whatever it's been, 30 years, due to cable television. I mean, that was the exposure. When syndicated television for wrestling pretty much died and ran its course, cable television picked it up with Raw and Nitro and everything. And you take that out of the picture, and, I don't know where wrestling would be. But it wouldn't be anywhere near what it was. So if streaming takes the place of cable in the long run, wrestling will probably find a home. I think WWE's, pretty safe, but will it find a home that will pay it as much as they're getting paid now? And that goes for all sports, for that matter. I mean, and now we're talking many years down the line. And I think when it comes to the NFL and NBA, the answer is they're going to make their money no matter what. They're just high-profile properties. When it comes to everybody else, the jury's out. I mean, it might be, the streaming services. But the thing is there's hundreds of cable stations, 137, I think, is the number that get rated, but there's tons more that don't even get rated. Although the ones that aren't rated are not spending any real money on programming, and certainly not on sports. Even though there's sports stations that aren't rated, they're not spending any significant money. So, there will be fewer than that major streaming services that are going to be spending a lot of money. So that will change the dynamic. But of course, those services need far more content than a television station needs. So you just don't know how it's all going to fit in. If AEW is doing really good in late 2026, I think they're pretty safe, because both sides would want them and want to keep the deal. If they're doing pretty bad, it wouldn't be good. But that would have been the same anyway, whether this merger happened or not, because they're at a high enough level that they have to produce. Or, if they don't produce, then they're not going to get a renewal at the rate that they've got. Produce meaning whatever is considered good numbers at the time, not what's considered good numbers today, but will be considered good numbers in a year as numbers change. Like the cable numbers are going to probably go down because they do every year for everybody. So, like the numbers that, when people go like the numbers that Raw does now would be considered abominable, 3 years ago, even a year ago, but they're not necessarily abominable at all. So, based on the service that they're on. So so you have to judge it based on that. So,
are you one of those youngsters today who listens to Spotify? I don't even know what it is. But I do know this. All of our podcasts are available at Spotify. You can head up right now and sign up. The easiest way to do so, f4wonline.com/Spotify. And for just $9.99 per month, you can listen to 84 podcasts on any given month. 84! 2 to 3 podcasts every single day covering pro wrestling and mixed martial arts. And if you think about $9.99 per month, that's just pennies per day. So check it out today on Spotify. That's f4wonline.com/Spotify. f4wonline.com/Spotify.